camera's not working. There's something going on with my camera. Give me a moment. Let me reactivate it. There we go. Okay. Random tech problems. That was the end of last stream. Good morning, everybody. Oh, wait, no, it's afternoon again. One of these days I'm going to get that right. Okay. All right then. So what are we doing today? We are continuing with our experimentation and evaluation of MakePad in order to create our sort of tabbed document example, so that we can, compare how MakePad works with other GUI technologies that we've also been trying. Let me quickly show you the spreadsheet. Where are we? Not this one. This one. Here we are. Right. So as we've been progressing, we've been making various notes in our little spreadsheet. I'm just going to pop the link to this in the chat again for those following along. There we go. Yeah. So where are we today? Well, just before the stream started, I thought, let's update the MakePad branch, because there's been a bunch of changes. So I'm just in the middle of rebasing this, which looks fairly painless right now. Right. And hopefully it still works after the rebase. And then we can continue. Let's find out. There were quite a lot of changes, so... Right, here we go. So what we're trying to build is a little tab document UI example. Oh dear, look, it panics now. Oh dear. Oh no. I probably shouldn't rebase just before the live stream, really, should I? That was probably a bad idea. I thought, oh, that'll be easy. No. So yeah, this you see, breaking changes because it's a 0. whatever release, 0.6 release, I think, but now we've just got a random panic. We don't know why. Shall we do a rebuild, entire rebuild, just in case there's something weird going on? Oh dear. You never know. We'll do a clean, run it again. But I wasn't really expecting a panic on some widget UID bit of code after a rebase. No, it still panics. Fantastic. Great. What do we got? Stack buffer overrun, right? Because, right, something else happened. So it's running the event loop. Oh, this isn't going well, is it? Maybe I should undo my rebase so that we can continue. But I'm going to need to fix it anyway, so I don't know. I think we should let's try dealing with a rebase and see what we learned from this exercise. So we're handling some event. And we've got some view doing something. And now we're into our code. So yeah, one thing that was nice about Java stack traces, right, is that when the code is in your project, then it's in sort of green, and then the things that are outside of your project are in red. But when you're working in the library, everything is essentially in your project. So the document view widget match event. Already mutably borrowed. Window geometry change was the last thing that happened, and then it panics. Gosh. That's the last thing that happens. I mean, already mutably borrowed. What is already mutably borrowed? That's the question. A widget is. Widget UID. Okay. So it's in the debug implementation of this. Do we think this has changed recently? No. I mean, what's changed? What's changed? So it's this borrow that's doing it. But why might it be already borrowed? Why might it be already borrowed? Who knows? Like, printing out the action now causes a panic. I mean, no. Now what happens? Already mutably borrowed. Same thing. Is it any of our code that's causing the problem? It's when we're debugging stuff. So something's happened with the debug implementation. You used to be able to print the actions out, but now we can't. mean, what do we think might have changed? Some changes to source action, and that is what we're trying to print out. Let's have a look and see if we can find that. What was it in platform, was it? This is software development life, this is. Yeah. So there's going to be, I don't know, some additional case of a borrow. But, you know, it might not even be in this. It might be how the code has been called from something else. Great. Great, just fantastic. Do we think the same thing happens with some of the other examples, right? Because if it does, I can just report it and move on. But if it's just our code, then we have to work out what is going on. So let's find another example. We need a case of handle event where we print out some action. Oh, it's handle events. Is it? Was it? Who remembers? Handle actions, sorry. So here's one. So if we try doing the same thing as this, in this Ironfish app, I mean, we're not inside a widget at this point, we're inside an app, mind you. So this might not cause the same issue. So we probably need to find an implementation of a widget to make it crash. That doesn't crash. Let's see if we can find another one. Trying to find another widget that's doing handle actions. What's big fish? These are all for Stack navigation. Slide panel. What on earth is slide panel? What is a slide panel? Who knows? Apparently nothing uses it though. Fantastic. Okay, well, I guess we won't be doing that then. We can't see if it's that. Oh, not events, actions. So these aren't on widgets, you see. I need to find another one that's on a widget. No. There's one here. There's this run list one. Let's see if we can do that here. Studio. No, I don't want that. Oh, this panics as well. Great. Okay. I mean, that's useful. The studio thing panics as well. So where does it panic? Already muted widget. Yeah, so it panics for the same thing. Okay, I'm going to let them know. Studio panics on startup. Let's see, in my code, when I deprint how to find out where the problem comes from. There we go. Print out the actions. I'm pasting this in the Discord in the vain hopes that someone is there and might help. So what do we do? What can we do here? So I suppose what we could do is undo the rebase, merge the new changes, then bisect it to find the offending commit that causes it to go wrong. Or switch back, since the studio, yeah, we can do it a different way. Since the studio thing dies on startup, we can just bisect the main branch. Okay, let's try that. You know, I thought we were going to get something useful done today, but apparently no, we've got to debug the code first. Right. Okay. So I think what we're going to do is reset back to this commit. But we're going to branch first. Okay. We're going to reset this to this. Oops. Right. We're going to go back into this and we're going to run our code. Just to make sure, you know, it still works. Right. So, you know, not panicking anymore. So there's definitely something in those commits. So if we check out git checkout rig, I'm sure there's a better way of doing this than what I'm currently doing. Like, I just don't care about these files, right? Okay. So let's run this studio thing and then start a bisect, right? Git bisect start, right? And this commit is bad. So if no one's ever bisected before, then, you know, I guess you might learn something from this. So it works now. Why? It didn't work a minute ago. Okay, that's a bit strange, isn't it? Is it stop? Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, that's weird then, isn't it? Let's just do, let's compare this branch with this. Right, we don't care about any of the code in the tab document example. And we're just going to look and see what other changes we made to the platform. We just put quotes on this thing, right? We've got perhaps a different version of Rust. So when I run the studio in okay, let's just get that and run it again. Because when I ran it a moment ago, it wouldn't have been using the nightly version of Rust. So let's try that. So maybe it only occurs on nightly Rust. No. That's even more strange then. Because now, you know, we've got this. We've got this. What's different? Is it really this? Just going to merge the changes one by one and see if it crashes again. No. And then we've got this in the UI too. It's like, we fixed the typo and then we put quotes on it. Seems a bit weird. Like what? Okay, that's very odd. So let's how strange. And then we'll run it again and we'll see if it's still broken. And it's not broken now. Magic. I love computers. It's fantastic. Okay. Does our code work now? I mean, it wasn't working a minute ago. No, it's still broken. What? What? Just don't understand. So a minute ago, Studio was crashing on startup, and now it's not. And none of the changes that we made in this branch seem to affect it, but now it magically just works. What happens if we run it again now? It still doesn't crash. What the heck? I don't even know where to go with this now. Like what? What about this ironfish one? Does this crash? No. Okay. Let's do the other option that I thought of, which was switch back to the tab document UI before we do the update, right? Because this one works. Right, the studio works there. Does R1 work? And then what we'll do is merge the changes in and then do a... Right, so that this works. Oh dear. Right, so then we're going to go git merge Rick, like this. But we've got a merge conflict. Now, this ID is updated, and there used to be a merge changes or something, or resolve conflicts, but this resolve conflicts thing has disappeared. Cargo.toml. I don't know where it's gone now. It's weird. It doesn't appear anymore. They've changed Rust Rover, and I can't find. You used to get like merge resolve conflicts, but it's not here. I can abort a merge. There's this action thing. There's a somehow you can run a named action. I'm trying to remember what the find action. This resolve. Yeah, you see, I don't know. Is it in? No, this is not it. Is it on this? No, you see, I don't know how to resolve conflicts in the UI anymore. So we have to manually find stuff and fix it. Like, Oh look, now there's a button here, resolve conflicts. Great. Like, where's the one that used to be on here? Right. Okay. So the problem now is that I don't know whether we're going to be able to bisect this because it's a merge commit. So I don't know. Let's just run it now and see if it still crashes. It's such a waste of time this is. Look, 40 minutes and we're into the stream and we've basically done nothing. Right, it still crashes. And if we run this, see, I'm not sure whether this is going to work, the bisect on the merge commit. Because when you do a rebase, you can do it, but we need to have the commits in the right order in order to find them. Unless there's a different way of using Git to put the other commits afterwards. So this one works. Okay, so the bisect is working on the merge commit, fine. Right. But of course, it's the code prior to the merge commit doesn't exist. Our example doesn't exist. So we can't bisect it that way. Does the studio crash on this one? Because it was crashing earlier. It's probably not going to crash now, of course. No, you see, it doesn't crash. And the idea is you use bisect and it does a binary search. And you run each version of the repo to work out whether the problem still exists. Then you mark it as either good or bad. And then eventually you should find the commit that causes it to fail. But in our case, the commit that causes it to fail is not in this branch that we're merging, so because it's not going to work this way. Can we I suppose what we can do, let's do it a different way. Oops. So this is the existing code, and if we cherry pick all the other commits from master, perhaps. these ones. Just make a note of those. So if we try cherry picking them, then they'll be in order. Oops. We'll create a new branch. Oh, we got those merge commits and that as well. Oh, God. Merge option. No M option was given. Don't know how I can do this. Great. Yeah, don't know. There's a bunch of commits in that branch, but one of them is a merge of some other branch, and therefore you can't cherry pick them all. So that's no good. So there's this. It's moaning about this, probably, or some of the old one. Because there's so many changes, and it could be any one of these changes that's done it. So it's complaining about this one. Just wondering if there's anything obvious in here. More merging. Widget action APIs. These commit messages are horrible. Like, why are there 3 commits in a row called run button? And like, why are there 3 commits in a row called AI chat style in progress? Like, and then there's more here. This is not the way to create commit messages or commits. Like, and then there's it just makes me sad when I see commit history like this. Fix. What's fixed? Like, should I be looking at this commit called fix, right? I've got a problem with some code. It's randomly not working because some upstream commit has broken something in some way or changed something in some way, right? So in order to determine which particular commits I might be possibly looking at, a useful commit message would be very helpful in this scenario, right? But no. Fix. Great. Thanks. Fix what? And where's the test, regression test for it? I bet there isn't one. Of course there's not. And then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 commits with the same message. Just the more I look at this project, the more I do not like it at all. I'm just when I get issues like this, right, it makes me question my choice of the library that I'm using. Right? So far, my experience with MakePad has been extremely mixed. On one hand, it does some stuff that I need it to do. On the other hand, getting to the point where I've got some stuff that does what I want is just ridiculously frustrating. And I don't want to live in a world of ridiculous frustration. Right? Because every single day in the future that I use it, I'm going to be more and more frustrated. Right? It just makes me want to stop using this. It just makes me want to stop using MakePad. I'm really not sold on it at all. Right. Yeah. Can we do that? No. Clear up stuff. So basically there's a whole bunch of new stuff, but I can't use it because there's some one random thing in it that breaks what I'm doing, and there's no easy way of finding out what the problem is, and there's so many commits, right, badly named commits, that the option I've got, which is to cherry pick each commit individually and then run it until it stops working, is not really appealing to me. Let's just look at this. Right, there's all of these commits. And there's one commit called whoa. Like, if we look at this, what do we expect to find? What is going to be in this commit? Any guesses? Any guesses? Because I've got no idea. Some changes to an AI chat. Yeah. I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting that. And what's in a commit called fix like this? Like, the development practices of the people that are writing libraries are important, right? So it's not really a fix. It's a cleanup of a warning, because user is unused code. So a better commit message might be clean up unused variable warning. Not just fix, right? Because then if I was looking through this list of commits and I see fix, and if it said cleanup warnings, I would know I could ignore this commit entirely and just go, well, it's not going to be that because there's no functional change to the code. Right? And why are there 4 of these? So it changed from an I32 to a U32. Right? But why are there 4 commits for this? That was the first one. See, these should all just be rolled up into a single commit because they're all fixing the same thing. Do I continue with MakePad? That's what I'm asking myself right now. Should I let one problem that I'm currently having today be the final straw? Am I there yet? I'm pretty much there, to be honest. Or do we continue? Do we continue? No, we're not going to continue. No. No. Let's update the MakepadUI column and then decide if we still want to touch it. Right, so not yet. Responsive layout, yes. Keyboard navigation, maybe. Yes, there's dynamic things. Event system. There sort of is an event system. Maybe. Yes, for widgets. Because I know that you can create actions, events in your widgets and then handle them elsewhere and so on. So maybe sort of custom events. Unknown. Don't know, just leave it blank. Context menus. Context menus. Let's run the UI zoo thing. I mean, I didn't see any context menus anywhere. Come on. Like I'm right-clicking on things. Why does right-clicking open something? Wasn't expecting that. I don't think there's... I didn't see any examples of context menus. So I'm going to say no and no to these. We already went through those. Documentation. No, there's no book. Yes, but outdated. Not linked from website. So you can't even find this architecture overview if you want to use it. Developer friendliness, discoverability bad, temporal coupling. It not in the same way that other UIs had. I'm going to say no here because Darkman. No, I'm not in the business of writing a GUI library. There's lots of people writing GUI libraries. We expect at some point that one of them won't suck and then we should use it. I definitely don't want to write a GUI library. That's a full-time thing by itself, to answer your question. Yeah. No. GUI testability. Well, what are our thoughts on GUI testability? So, you know, let's look at, I don't know, let's look at newsfeed, right? So there's an app here, and most of the GUI is contained within this. And there's a bunch of code which all of which is untested. So let's just say non-existent, like it is for Flow. This space. Yeah. Okay, this was an interesting one, right? We're going to run the UI zoo, and we're going to go du-h max depth 1. I'm going to wait for this to finish. And it's 1.7 gig. You know, which compared to Freya, which required 22 gigabytes. I mean, okay. Repo layout, bad. Why do I say this? Why is it bad? Well, let's just look at this for a moment. So, MakePad is what? What is this repo about? Okay, so it's got examples for the library, great. But then it's also got Makepad Studio in there as well. And what is Makepad Studio? Makepad Studio is an IDE. So having your IDE and the UI framework in the same repo is bad. Right? it's not well organized at all. I mean, let's look at this. Workspace members, for instance. It's got a weird bunch of experiments, and likely all the experiments should be in their own repo, each experiment within their own repo, right? Which depend upon a particular version of the main UI library, right? I should be able to compile a single experiment, right, and not have to download all the source code for the IDE. There's also loads of commented out things because they don't build properly, which if these were in a separate repo by themselves, you wouldn't have this issue because it would just be its own cargo project, right? And you wouldn't have this. There's also all this libs stuff, right? Not really a big fan of that. And then there's platform, and then you've got platform source, and then you've got widgets source, right? So yeah, I don't like the repo layout, so I'm going to say bad. Examples, yeah. Is it good? I mean, how does it compare to, say, Vizier's examples? Let's have a quick contrast and compare with that. So if we go Vizier, examples, right? So Vizier's got a widget gallery. It's got examples for each of the different views that you would have, I think. And then you can run each of these. And there's little self-contained examples for that, right? We'll just quickly run one of these. 275 dependencies, mind you. Which is better than some of the other ones, mind you, but you know. So, examples, and then there's this 7 GUIs examples, which is useful, even though some of them don't work properly. And then we've got this progress bar thing. Yeah. So the examples for Vizier aren't so bad in comparison. You know, and the Vizier project layout is a lot better. Right? So, however, the MakePad has some fairly comprehensive examples. For instance, it's got the studio, which serves as an example, and it's got this thing which serves as an example. So on that side it's good, but on the other side of how you use some of the basic things, I mean, it's got the UI zoo thing, but I'm gonna say okay. Some real apps. It's okay. Other thoughts and observations? Yeah. Okay. I don't want to be overly critical here, right? I'm trying not to be critical, but I am getting a bit worn out after a month of testing GUI frameworks and then seeing the same problems over and over and over again. So please do excuse me if this does seem a little overcritical. So let's go back to my pain points, right, that I noted down. So there's no tests. Did I mention that? Yeah. Severely lacking documentation, basically. Yeah, not very discoverable. Very unfinished. And one of the things I'm sort of noticing with MakePad, there doesn't seem to be much in the way of sort of focus. This is from the outside looking at what is there. Right, there's loads of sort of unfinished things in there. So, for example, there's the concept of a theme, but no way to change the theme. Right? Things like labels are defined within the theme and not within like the base sort of set of elements that you might have, for instance. Right? There's loads of commented out code. And I really don't like seeing any commented out code in any repo. It's extremely unhelpful because you're basically like, well, why is it commented out? Is it commented out because it's broken? And is there any plans to fix it? Should the code actually be doing this? And there was, someone was accidentally changing some code and left some code commented out and made a commit. Because the code is commented out and there's no tests, you don't know whether the tests were passing and with the code commented out, or the tests are going to pass with the code present. Right, so it's just like you've got no idea. The community is very slow to respond. I asked questions like a few days ago. Now I understand that developers might be away at the moment, but no one else has helped out either. So with other projects that I've asked questions in, for instance, the main developers have responded, but other people have also responded as well. So if you combine the slow community response with the lack of documentation, when you're faced with a problem, you get blocked. Right? So I've still got no idea why when I specify a 100 pixel left margin, the margin actually comes up to be 200 pixels. Right? This. Right, I'm specifying 100 and I get 200. No idea why. I asked the question, no response. For example, yeah. Okay, so let's go over the pain points that we've got. Unfinished functionality, not clear how big the community is. Well, it seems pretty small. In the Discord server, there are currently 102 online users right now. But the channel is pretty dead. Like, I ask questions, silence. And then I ask another question, silence. And then there seems to be sort of spurts of responses. From 2 different people, and that's about it. So there's a guy called Uni and a guy called Rick Arends, who's the main author, I believe. And then there's Kevin as well, sometimes says things, but it's basically like 2 or 3 people. So it seems like when Rick's around, you might get an answer, but if he's not around, then no one else helps out, really. That's what it looks. That's what the community looks out after a week and a bit of using it. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned the fact that there aren't many dependencies, which is good, right? Yeah, I mentioned those. Pain points. Undiscoverable. No API documentation. Floundering around in the dark. Cross-referencing of examples. Yeah. Unanswered questions. Spot the difference debugging. Stack overflows. Yeah. Let's do another quick comparison with like another project that we were using. Let's look at Vizier again, right? And we're just going to have a quick look at the commit history for this. Okay, so this is my branch, which obviously I haven't fixed up yet. But let's just look at the quality of commit messages just to see, you know, as a comparison. So what we don't see, well, we see a couple of them there, are multiple commits with the same message. But at least it's not just the word fix. Fix for something. I mean, these commit messages seem pretty good. Let's switch over to the Flowen one. There it is. It wouldn't switch to it for a moment. Git show history. Oh, these are my commits, right? Skip them. So the commit messages there seem pretty good, right? And let's switch back to the MakePad one. And we'll show the history here. You see what I mean? It's just... like, I'm not a Git expert. I can do quite a few things with it, but some of the other things I don't do very often, I always forget. And then you have to sort of remind yourself how to do it, and then you have to go back to reading all the Git documentation. But it feels like someone doesn't know how to use Git very well, because they've got a name of admin and they've got multiple commits with the same message multiple times. So whoever this is that's doing this, I think doesn't really understand Git so well. Other people seem to be okay with it, but this admin person, you know, they haven't set their they haven't set their Git settings properly, and they're making multiple commits and not squishing them. So it's, you know, that is messy as well, and I don't like that. I really don't like that. It's very unhelpful. Okay, back to the pain points list. Yeah, I don't know. Overall feeling after attempting to write a test case. I've not even got very far with the test case. But I think I just want to call time on it and look at another one. I don't really know what to say here. Maybe okay in the future. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. But right now, it's unfinished, opaque, and I don't know. Unfinished, opaque, and frustrating. It's not looking good for these Rust GUI techs, is it? I mean, honestly, it really isn't. Severely lacking in documentation. Yeah, it's just... That's my thought. Maybe in the future. It's just too unfinished. Right, next. Next. Okay. That's it. MakePad's done. Right, so I'm getting worn out by all this. I really am. I just want a UI framework that doesn't suck. People keep telling me, use Slint, use eGUI. Let's just look at Slint again for a moment. The problem I'm having with Slint is that I don't understand the licensing. And it's not very helpful that it doesn't mention that on the Slint main website on the homepage, right? So the other thing that concerns me is there's a button at the top here that says pricing, right? Which to me says you've got to buy it. Now, my project currently is open source, but somehow I've got to put a roof over my head. And I don't know, maybe in the future I'm going to have to like have some parts of the application as like extra, for instance. So sometimes some applications they provide builds for mobile phones for like GUI apps or something like this, but the code might be open, but you can't get a build for it, for instance, unless you subscribe or something like this. And now I don't know. I haven't decided on any monetization options for this project yet, but at some point there's going to need to be something. I don't know whether Patreon subscribers and donations are gonna be workable, right? So because I see this pricing thing here, it makes me think, well, if there's some commercial stuff, do I need some license? Right. And then there's this also available under GPL. And there's royalties for embedded systems may apply. Now, I'm going to be creating like embedded apps. Right? And there is absolutely zero way that I can afford this price. That's crazy. €5 a month might be doable if I've got one Patreon at €5 a month. But you know, why is there a GPL license in this? Why do I need to pay any money if there's a GPL license? You see, this doesn't make much sense to me. It says create your application under these licenses, provided that the complete work is made available under GPL v3. Right? So they specifically write this in a way that's confusing. Like, is it a GPL library that I can just use or not? And then it's got compatible licenses. But like, it's very confusing. Right? And we go here, let's go license. Under any of the licenses. But my application is under the MIT license, right? And this is available under GPL 3, but I'm not changing Slint, I'm just using it. And then if you look at the licensing FAQ, you've got a royalty-free license, and then you've got this one. GPL free. So, can I use it? It's like they're purposely going out of their way to like confuse you. So on one hand they say, create your application under these things, provided the complete work is made available under GPL3. Right, but then it says, no, you can license your program any license compatible with the GPL3. It's just confusing. It's confusing. So for this reason, I'm not looking at Slint. Goodbye. Maybe that's the wrong way of looking at this, but you know, I just want something that's clear cut and obvious. And I certainly don't want to be in a position where I've spent a lot of time developing an application using some GUI library only to later be told that no, you're not allowed to do that. Give us some money. I certainly don't want to be in that position. So, you know, just web rendering engine, like, no. EGUI. People keep telling me to use this. Now, didn't I? So, EGUI is an immediate mode one, right? But it seems like to me that the world is moving towards these retained mode user interfaces. So for this reason, I don't want to use EGUI. Yeah. And then the other thing about this is it says EGUI aims to be the best choice when you want a simple way to create a GUI or add GUI to a game engine. If you want a GUI that looks native, EGUI is not for you. I do want something that looks native. I want like native controls. Yes, please, thank you very much. Or at least fairly native looking. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm still not going to look at EGUI yet. I may yet come back to it, but I'm not ready to go down that path yet. I may yet come back to look at Slint if the licensing situation is clarified. So there's a bunch of other ones that are in here. What other ones are there? There was this PAX one, but it was this one. You know, they've got the same idea as MakePad, where they've got a visual designer, right? This PAX designer thing. I think they want to charge for the PAX designer. Where's the license thing? Apache license, you see? See, it's clear cut. Not like Slint. Project status, beta. I mean, it's not alpha. So this is this PAX thing. I'm trying to remember whether this uses web stuff. So this packs thing, it's got loads of examples for like stuff that looks like a mobile app. All these sort of, I don't know, Electron style apps that don't look native, for instance. But I want a GUI that looks native. Is there a list of the widgets? Right, I don't care about some game. No. I want a list of the widgets. You see, and it's just yeah, it just keeps going around in circles. There's no list of widgets, right? So it just feels like it's, I don't know. Why would I want to touch this if I can't even find a list of widgets? I mean, there clearly are some widgets, but you know, it's just missing many widgets that I need. Yeah. No, I don't think we're going to look at packs. LVGL's terrible. It's written in C anyway, so we're not looking at that. This is Rust Elm. GTKRS. Oh dear. I don't think we want to be looking at any GTK related stuff. No. More GTK stuff. Rinf. Rust in Flutter. Stay with Dart and Rust. I mean, do I have to use Dart for this? Is there a GitHub link somewhere? Do I want to be touching any Flutter stuff? I doubt it. No. No. it's very hard trying to find a UI library. What's this Athul one? Did I look at this? Well, you look at this, it's got desktop related things. Did I look at this already? A fool. Not yet. Should we try this one? Did I download this already? Let's have a look. No. Okay, let's try it. Let's just see if we can find an example and run an example. Widgets.rus. Oh dear. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I'm scared already. I don't want to see extern C in any of the GUI libraries that I look at. Hell no. And it doesn't build. Is there like there's the hello world one. Like, oh. Just no. Like, why? It doesn't even build. Like, oh. Maybe we need to build something else before we can run an example. I don't know. We'll see. But it feels like there should be a dependency thing set up somehow in the cargo project. so that when I just run it from my IDE, it knows how to just build everything that it needs. And it doesn't build. Just no. No. Well, next. I mean, I looked. Doesn't build it. I mean, if it doesn't build, I ain't going to touch it. If I can't go cargo build, I don't want to know. Oh dear. What's this? Cushy. I mean, look, there's documentation. Oh my god. I'm shocked. User guide as well. Double oh my gosh. Okay, let's try this. Repository. Do we have a sane repository? Source. Examples. Oh, there's quite a few things there, isn't there? Okay, let's have a look at this. 0.4 MIT. Okay. Next. Cargo build. Here we go. A full authors. I have a little bit more faith that this might actually work. 301 dependencies for a cargo build. That's quite a lot. It's quite a lot. But does it build? That's the question. Does it build? And our survey says $300 dependencies. This is a lot of dependencies. I mean, some of these are test dependencies. Sorry, dev dependencies as well. So, but it builds though. I mean, that's good. Unlike a Thul, which did not. Right, let's see if we can run an example. I don't know, let's just... They're not self-contained ones, they don't have their own cargo file. That's a bit weird, but okay. 309 dependencies to run buttons.rs. Oh, there's focus and focus order, file picker. See, one of my gripes with other GUI libraries is the focusing and the order that things are focused. Modal, multi-window, these are all things that are appealing to me. Radio, scroll, select. There's buttons. I mean, it worked, that's good. What's monitors? Okay. Manual tabs. Let's try this. What's a debug window? It gave me two things. Interesting. Container. I mean, yeah, that's containers, all right. Oh, and you can toggle the theme. MakepadUI authors take note. How about internationalization? I'll look for that in a minute. Let's look at this though, because I'm curious about this. Right. So when you press tab, you expect it to go from username to password to log in and then to cancel. This is what I'm expecting it to do. No. But it's got a return button. Interesting. It seems a bit... Oh no, it does do that, but login is disabled, so you can't focus the disabled thing. Okay, so it did do what I was expecting it to. In that it goes from username to password to login to cancel. Yeah, so the focus order isn't dependent on the layout order, basically, which is what you want to see. That's good. Well, I think we might have to look at this a little bit more in depth. It's got file pickers. That's interesting. And then it's got its own weird one like this. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Dynamic fonts, because I want emojis. Are there any emojis, do we think? Trying to find. thought I had an emoji thing, but I can't find it now. Yeah. Okay, let's do a bit of tinkering with this. So home and shift home. Oh my gosh. Home, shift end, good. Control, left, right. Yes, that seems very sane. What happens if you make this too big? And then make the window too small? Sanity prevails. Okay, well, that's good. Contacts. Uh-huh. Okay. List. Oh my god. There's a test. This is like one of the first GUI frameworks that's actually got tests. Surely not. Okay. Got lists. Let's just do something fun. Let's go cargo. No, let's not do it there actually. Let's where's my IDE gone? This one. Let's right click this and go run all tests and see what happens. Wait a sec. Let's this is interesting. Alpha. Interesting. 473 stars, some forks, some people watching it. You can go to the insights and then go dependency graph. Dependence. Let's see if there's projects that use it. So you can get to the dependence in this, which you couldn't get to with the MakepadUI repo because of the bad repo layout. So this is the author's own things. Not sure about why you'd need that. Just randomly scrolling through a file just to see what I see. I don't understand people that just write like one giant file called main.rs with like loads of things in it. Why would you do that? Kind of weird. but okay. Last week. Curious. Huh. Well. RG Cushy docs. So I suppose we need to look into this a little bit more, really, don't we? Alpha and unsupported. Let's have a look at the list of issues. So the author's creating his own issues. Yeah. Tracking the work that needs to be done is quite useful. Oh, it's got IME editing support. Well, it's to do. Curious. Okay, what about... So these are all like tasks, really. It'd be nice if there was tags on the things. Huh. Oh, look, it's got emojis. Ah, well, I think we'll have to have a more in-depth look at this. So I'm going to do a bit of reading. And then I think maybe we'll do another stream on Monday. And we'll have a dive into this cushy thing. I'm done with MakePad. It's just... No. You know, if this doesn't turn out to be any good, I'm not completely discounting MakePad, but right now I wasn't happy with it. It'd be nice to know if there's any internationalization in this. So let's update this for a second. Cushy. Repo. Pull these out for a moment. Go back to this. Oh. repo. Good, look at this. I'm actually able to fill in the documentation. That's amazing. I wonder if there's any videos on YouTube. Let's have a look. Rust Cushy. Interesting. There it is. Just link that. Status active and experimental. Runtime. What did it say it used? Who remembers? It was WGPU and winning it. Focus. Well, I mean, and most of the things in it are sort of like desktop-y related, aren't they? So I think the focus is desktop apps. License is MIT or Apache. Occurrences of test. Oh yeah, what happened with our list of tests? Look, oh my gosh, there's actual tests. Yeah, there are some failing tests, so that's not ideal. There's not many tests, but at least there are some tests. I want to see what happens when you do that. List runs. I mean, does this actually do anything? Cushy example list untested still frame. Does that mean it's not really tested? Do any of these have? Looking for a more comprehensive test. Oh dear. Wait for 500 milliseconds. I mean, that assumes that the computer that you're running the test on can run the test can do the stuff within 500 milliseconds. Animation recorder. What do we think Plotters does? I mean, the test runs. Seems fairly responsive in that regard. Just going to run a couple more of the examples really and see what happens. Not sure what this slider does. Menu? Oh, this will be interesting. There's some sort of menus in there. Let's have a look. Select. It's a bit weird that it's called. Oh, see here it's called option. I don't know. Weird. Switcher. Sort of what I want, dynamic things. Like it doesn't look totally hideous. And it's got the whole closure thing going on. Yeah. Curious. Okay. All right. Like, let's run basic button. And this has got trying to work out how many dependencies there were on this. Yeah. Curious, no? Curious. Okay, well, I'll update this. And, yeah. Let's see where we get with it. But I think that's going to do for today. We're going 2 hours or so. I'm going to have a read through some of the documentation and update this little spreadsheet with my findings, and then maybe we'll try and recreate the example in yet another GUI framework. Yeah. Okay, so just remember, folks, it's only software. How hard can it be? We'll find out on the next one. See ya.